the Taliban denied the Bagram airbase to the US. Yet they receive 50 to 100 million dollars allegedly per week in cash, allegedly as a weekly stipend. Not a vassal of the US, but this is sort of protection money or de facto stabilization payments. What is it? Is the question. The question is, why is the US allegedly funding the Taliban? See, the US handed the country of Afghanistan to the Taliban on a platter. The Taliban did not win the war. The Taliban did not defeat and eject the US from Afghanistan. There were there was a series of negotiations that happened in Qatar between the United States and the Taliban. And that went on for a period of months, maybe years. We don't quite know. Much of it was done in secret. So maybe the negotiations were going on for a couple of years, perhaps. Eventually, there was an agreement between the US and the Taliban in Doha. And certain aspects of that agreement, the deal that was signed, certain aspects of the deal are secret. There are secret clauses to the agreement. And those have never been revealed to the public. And as a consequence of this agreement, the Americans simply withdrew from Afghanistan and handed over the nation to the Taliban. And there was essentially no resistance to the Taliban from the government, from the so-called Afghan government, which was nothing but a US sock puppet. So it looks like, as a consequence of those secret clauses in the agreement between the US and the Taliban, looks like as a consequence of that, the Americans have some kind of secret understanding with the Taliban that you Taliban will play a certain role in Afghanistan, which will be beneficial to the US. In exchange, the US will give a certain amount of payment to the Taliban per week, every week, whatever the amount is, so that the Taliban can continue to run the country and in a reasonably successful manner. What role could the Taliban play that is beneficial to the US? Well, in case you're not aware, the Chinese are interested in Afghanistan. The Chinese wanted to use Afghanistan territory to build infrastructure for their Belt and Road Initiative. And that's never happened. The Chinese were very interested in copper deposits in the Mes-Aynak region in Afghanistan. That's never happened. The Taliban are keeping China out of Afghanistan. And there must be something else also. So that's the kind of service maybe the Taliban is providing to the US, a geopolitical service in exchange for the money. But obviously the agreement is such that the Taliban remains sovereign, Afghanistan remains sovereign. It is dependent on the money that comes in from the US, but it's not a tremendous amount of money. 100 million, let's say it's 100 million per week, that's $400 million a month. 10 months, it's 4 billion. So it's about $5 billion a year, which is peanuts for the US, but it's significant for the Taliban. Many nations can actually fill that gap. So it's not like the US is indispensable for the Taliban and so on. But yeah, that's the kind of situation that we have in Afghanistan.